It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today we're going to just talk about Cookie Run OvenSmash. We're not going to touch long on it, as you can go to the Steam page and see a lot of it yourself. The two main things I want to focus on is just watching the trailers of the gameplay, so that way you can kind of understand how it's going to work. It's going to be very similar to Brawl Stars, very similar to Smash Legends. There's a whole few different games that you could pair similarities to, but it definitely looks very, very fun. As you can see, this is the Battle Royale mode, just one of the 5 modes that they talked about, and I'm very looking forward to this overall gameplay. As you can see, treasure hunt here, a whole bunch of really, really, really fun stuff. So, if you're looking forward to this game, this is something that I'm going to be covering, but the main thing I did want to cover today is the system requirements. So, sometimes people do not think about or go and look at the system requirements for the game. So the absolute minimum is a Intel Core i5 or AMD FX 6300. You need 8 gigabytes of RAM and a GeForce GTX 960 with 2 gigabytes of video RAM, or AMD Radeon R7 with 2 gigabytes of RAM. This also does require DirectX 11, and it says network broadband internet connection. That means it might not run off Wi-Fi. So, do keep that in mind, whether you have specific computer setups, specific parts. Maybe you want to play this game and you're like, oh, I don't have any of these equipment, or I don't have enough RAM, I don't have enough graphic power. Those are going to matter a lot. They're making a very high intense, high graphical game, and as you can see, even the minimum requirements are going to have a pretty hefty setup to actually run this. Now, if we look over at the recommended, they actually recommend 16 gigabytes of RAM, still an i5, but one of the newer processors, or the Ryzen 5, a GeForce GTX 1060, or a Radeon 580 with 4 gigabytes of onboard graphical GPU power, and still broadband internet. Storage is going to be 20 gigs, so you can see it's going to be a big game. But the GTX 1060 being the recommended means that that'll be the smoothest gameplay. So, if you don't have this equipment, start saving up if you do want to play this. I did want to cover that because that's a very important feature of this. The game itself looks great, but just to assume that it's going to be compatible on all devices, it's really not. You're going to need some pretty powerful equipment to go ahead and run it on a really smooth setting, and still some good equipment to run it on minimum. So, hopefully you guys are excited about this game like I am. I am definitely looking forward to all the work that they've put in. It looks very, very cool. And just know that when it does fully release, I will definitely be covering a lot of in-depth gameplay for it. Thank you so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.